Hey everyone, I'm on my honeymoon right now on a cruise ship in the middle of the Mediterranean. But I'm getting a lot of messages on Twitter, Instagram, and people are giving me congratulations saying, Paul, you were right on BABA, you were right on PayPal, Southwest just announced a buyback. I love and I appreciate the praise, but guys, as much as I appreciate that, and I don't want to dismiss that because it's really nice to hear people congratulate me, I would be hypocritical if I sat there and took a victory lap for this. At the end of the day, I have a thesis. At the end of the day, the markets are also at all-time highs. You've got to remember that. Now, have my stocks done very well lately? Yes, they have. Am I proud of that? Absolutely. But the thesis is going to take a long time to play out, especially if we have a bad bear market. Remember, everybody looks like a genius in a bull market. Yes, some stocks can go higher than others, etc., especially a company like Alibaba, PayPal, and Southwest, which have been beaten up like crazy. I get that. And I'm not trying to say that that's not the case, but I want to be consistent about the things I say and the way I behave. I didn't even know these stocks were up so much. Literally had no clue. People are messaging me and I'm like, what's the stock at? No idea. You might sit there and say, there's no way. I do not look at my stocks. If it wasn't for this channel and us having to do videos of them, I probably would never check them. That's what I'm trying to teach here. I'm trying to teach everybody that you're buying a piece of the business. And that business takes a long time to get better and better and better. And I'm comfortable waiting that long. I'm on the cruise ship right now, and I befriended a great guy on the cruise ship. He's a doctor, great guy. Every 2 hours, hey, what's NVIDIA at? What's NVIDIA at? And I just chuckle, and he said, do you have any NVIDIA? I said, no, I think it's a little overpriced. He's like, I don't know, it's soaring. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. And he told me his basis was like $1.50 per share. So he's up like 90x on it, which is awesome. But at the end of the day, I don't look at my stocks. I really genuinely do not, because I truly believe I'm buying good businesses at good prices. I see the stock market going up, so I assume my stocks are going up and they're probably not better values. The other thing is I'm very active on our channel. I'm very active on Twitter. I'm very active in our community. I receive word when something falls hard or jumps up a lot. So these are the things that are very important in order to be successful as an investor. You have to be able to ignore that. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. My wife is downstairs and she said, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm on Twitter. And I guess some of the stocks that I've been buying have been up a lot. She's like, oh, it's great. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And I literally believe that. I'm not just bullshit when I say this. I truly don't feel like I'm right yet. I will feel like I'm right 5, 6, 7, 10 years down the road when Alibaba is $600 or $700 a share because they've reached their potential and gotten a lot better. And I'm not saying they should hit $600 or $700 a share. My point is when they're up substantially, profits up, revenues up, free cash flows up. When PayPal is much more mature, much better, when Southwest have gotten back to 10, 15% margins, when Disney's gotten back to that. Now, obviously, buying a stock is easy. Keeping a stock is hard. I've heard whenever a stock falls hard, there's always a story that attaches to that. Why? Because news follows the stock price. And you're hearing this now going, I know, Paul, I've heard you say this before. I've heard you. Yes, but you have to repeat it because I repeat it to myself every single day. I repeat it to myself every time I get a twinge in my stomach. Should I own the stock? And I think to myself, okay, Paul, do you think this company is going to be bigger and better 10 or 20 years from now? Yes. Do you think that the revenue and profits going to be much higher than 10 or 20 years? Yes. So can you pay a reasonable price to pay? Can you pay a reasonable price today that gives you an adequate return on your capital based on, yeah, okay, then I do it. And if the stock goes lower and those answers are still the same, I buy more of it. But we get scared because you hear about China invading Taiwan. You hear about PayPal not being the leader in financing, but all these things. Southwest isn't leader in their thing. They're changing the way they do their boarding. There's 1,000 stories to every reason why a stock is going down, just like there are 1,000 stories for why a stock goes up. But at the end of the day, over long periods of time, the fundamentals are what drive the stock price. And I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to be right. The goal is that when you're right, the being right over long periods of time can compound, because when you're wrong, and if you lose half your money or even all your money on investment, you can only lose 100% of your investment, but you can make 10,000% on your return. And that's the goal. Now, that doesn't mean I'm trying to hit home runs. I want the 10,000 return after 30, 40 years on a specific company. It's not after getting 30, 40, it's not after getting 10,000% return like NVIDIA over 5 years, or whatever the number is. It's some absurd number. The key is that I keep teaching this: every investment is a present value of all future cash flows. And when you're buying a stock, you're buying a piece of a business. And our goal and our job is to try to determine the cash flow and the revenue and the profit of that business over the future and decide what's a reasonable price to pay. That's what makes it difficult, because we have no idea what the future holds. 5 years ago, there were probably a handful of people who saw the future of AI and could attach it to NVIDIA. And I'm only saying a handful of people because I really truly don't believe there was anybody, but I have to assume somebody out there saw it. And I would guess that that probably was a lucky guess. Who saw that happening? Great, more power to them. Who saw Tesla going from $1 billion company to $1 trillion? Anybody can say they did, but I want to see the consistency. And what we're trying to teach here is the consistency of buying great companies at great prices. I know Buffett and Munger, it's better to pay a fair price for a great business than a great price for a fair business. But I believe there's a way to pay great prices for great businesses. Meta was a great business at a great price at $88. And we bought it on the day it hit 88 as it went down. But what was the news surrounding Meta back then versus what's the news today? Totally different. But guess what? The business is exactly the same it was. Their business hasn't changed. Everything's exactly the same. And it's about repeating this over and over to you. This is why I want you watching our videos over and over again. You need to brainwash yourself into believing and understanding these fundamentals. If you do that, you'll probably become a better investor. And you'll definitely sleep better at night. That's the most important part. And the great part is, I'm literally on my honeymoon, not even going, F yeah, these stocks are up. I'm sitting there saying, oh, that's cool. It doesn't really affect me. And it might be hard to understand that or believe that, but it's 100% true. So the key to this is the same applies to you. I want you to be able to be that person who does that. How do you do that? Surround yourself by like-minded people. You have YouTube. Keep watching the videos over and over and find the things that make sense to you. If they make sense to you, as the price falls, you'll be able to strip out a lot more emotion. That's the big key. If you're able to do that, you will do very well in life with investing. And don't forget, you have to go all in on a stock. Do 80%, 90% of your money in ETFs. Great way to be. Take 10 or 20% into individual stocks once you feel like you have the right stomach for investing. That's the big key. It's easy ahead of time to say, oh, if this stock falls 50%, I'd buy more of it. Yeah, but when it falls 50%, the story that's being released out there is going to be a lot different than the real story, than the story you're hearing today. And that's what makes it difficult. So the best way to be around thousands of like-minded investors, guys, everythingmoney.com/sign up. We have a great $7 for 7 days, gives you all the tools, all the community, all the things you need to make yourself a better investor. To ask yourself, are you willing to invest $1 per day in yourself? If so, go sign up. If not, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for your time.